Hello students. Today I am going to teach you about history chapter number 3, that is ruling the countryside. So before this chapter we have read about from how the Britishers they came here for the purpose of trade and they had started capturing complete territory, and in this chapter we are going to read about how they started ruling from the countryside. So the countryside, it means the rural area, the village area. Okay, so there are various topics that we have to cover in this chapter. Before starting this chapter, let's start with the introduction of the chapter, that is what happened when the company becomes the Diwan, or why the Britishers they want to capture the complete countryside of our India. So, Robert Clive accepting the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa from the Mughal ruler in the 1765. It means when in the year 1765, Robert Clive was the head of the Britishers, and he is having the complete right over the Diwani system. Establishment of new methods and techniques to generate the revenues. It means they wants to start here from the agricultural method and to what we can say and to improve its agricultural method. What they have to do, they have to establish the new methods and techniques to improve the agriculture, so that they will have the better production from here, and with the less contribution they will get the more profit. Okay, so before starting this chapter, I just want to tell you about some of the hierarchies, or the main theme of the chapter is that zamindar, then the village headman and the villagers. Okay, so these three hierarchies is correlated with the three different kinds of systems which directly or indirectly started or given by the Britishers. So zamindar, they are following the permanent system, village headmen mahalwari system, and the villagers they are following the reotwari system. In the further we'll going to discuss about these three kinds of settlement. Okay, so what happened when the company is having complete right over the Diwan? Diwani system was occupied by the company, and this event was held under the control of Robert Clive that I told you. Diwani system allowed Britishers to have complete control over the revenue. Earlier what happened? Earlier the Britain, they are asking or demanding money or funds from the Britain to maintain their necessities or to maintain their funds and all. Okay, but as soon as they get the Diwani system, they need not to look forward for the help. Now the company, they themselves, they become the financial administrator of the territory, and they are having a complete control over the revenue of India. Okay, now revenue for the company is that what happened when they got the Diwani system. Within 5 years, the value of good brought by the company in Bengal was doubled. Means within a 5 year they are getting so much of the revenues, they are earning so much, so that it got doubled within the 5 year only. In 1770 there was a famine in Bengal, killed 10,000 people and destroyed 1/3 of the population. So the company maintains the trade. Complete process was fast aging, and company maintained its most of the revenue from the Bengal itself. It means they slowly and steadily they had have a complete control over Bengal and its trade and the revenue. So the problem of famine and all, they had started in the Bengal itself. After 20 years, new concept came up. Then what I told you earlier about the hierarchies, now we are going to read about this here. So Cornwallis, he introduced permanent settlement in 1793. Rajas and Talukdars recognized as zamindar and asked to collect the rent from the peasant and pay revenue to the company. Amount to be paid was fixed permanently. Now what is going on in the permanent settlement? This settlement was started by the Britishers itself, and in this settlement the mediator between the villagers, farmers, or this Britishers is the zamindars. And what happened with them is that the zamindar is asked to collect the rent from the peasant. Means where the farmers they are doing the work of agriculture, that particular land they have to pay the rent to the zamindar, and that rent was given by the zamindar to the company. An amount which was taken as a rent, it was fixed permanently. That is why it is known as permanent settlement. Company encouraging zamindar to invest in land. Now whatever the salary the zamindar is having, becoming a mediator between the farmers and the Britishers. Now the company what encouraging zamindar is to invest your money in the land so that the improvement, that the production will be good. Now here the company, they are not giving money to the peasants. Now they are encouraging zamindar to give the money to the invest in the land. So now what was the problem is that revenue was too high to be paid. Means whatever the rent or revenue they are taking from the farmers, it was very high, and zamindar were not investing in land improvement. Those who failed in paying revenue lost zamindari, and lost land was sold in auction to company. Now what happened? What the Britishers, they have stated that the problem is that if the zamindar failed to pay the revenue, he lost his zamindari, he will no more zamindar, and that particular land was sold in auction to the company. Price of market rises and the cultivation expanded, but did not found expected profits. Now what happened? As the name is the permanent settlement, so Britishers, they themselves, they have decided that they have whatever the amount they are taking from the peasants, it should be fixed permanently. Now what happened? The production is growing in the market, and they are getting so much of the price of market becomes very high, but the company, they are finding that it was lost to having that much rent from the peasant, but they are bounded because they cannot raise the amount, because they have only said that the amount to be paid was fixed permanently. So the permanent settlement system was oppressed forever. Okay, then after a new system came up. After permanent settlement was oppressed, then the new system came up, that is Holt Mackenzie devised a new system in 1822. Permanent settlement was in 1793. Okay, remember this. Explain fixed revenue system is incorrect. Okay, named as Mahalwari system. Now the new system which was given by the Holt Mackenzie is known as Mahalwari system. Now Mahalwari system is related with the village headman. Now what is here? Estimated revenue of each plot within a village was added to the calculated revenue that each village mahal had to pay. This was used periodically, not permanently. Now it was similar to the permanent settlement, but something is there, is change in that. What is that? Is whatever the revenue the peasant will pay, it will change periodically, but not permanently. It will be fixed. If the price will go higher, then the rent will also be higher, and if the market price will low down, then the rent will be also low. Okay, charge of collected revenue shifted to village headman rather than zamindar. Now here there is no use of zamindar, there is no more zamindar over here. Now everything was directly done by the village headman. Now who is the village headman? Village headman is the person who is the senior member of that village. Okay, it means maybe he is having its own land, he is the landlord, or he is the wealthy person in the village, or he is having a much more experience living in that area, so he will be the village headman. And the Britishers, they are directly contact to the village headman, and that village headman have to collect the revenue and have to pay to the Britishers. And this new system, Mahalwari system, became very popular in North India. At the same time, in the South India, the another system is going on, which is known as Munro system. This was tried by the Captain Alexander in areas of Tipu Sultan and later developed by Thomas Munro. So by the name of Thomas Munro only, the system is actually known as Munro system. Now in this system, what is going on? Settlement directly made with the cultivators, ryots. It means the farmers itself, and the Britishers should act as a parental father figure for them. Now there were no zamindar, no village headmen in the South India. So two of the system were going on simultaneously in the South India and the North India. North India is following Mahalwari system, whereas South India is following Munro system. These all things that you have to remember for the distinguish between types question. You have to remember all these things. Okay. Now what happened? Now crops for Europe. Countryside is not only meant for revenue, but can grow crops that Europe needs. Now here what they are, Britishers, now what they are doing is that here when they came to the countryside, they are not only meaning it for its just collecting the revenue. They want to get the profit from all the sides. So what they were thinking about, they were thinking that whatever the crops needed by the Europe, they will grow over here in India, and they will send it to the Europe, and they will get the cash from there. So in the 18th century, they're trying to grow opium and indigo. Opium is a kind of drug, and indigo, it is a blue dye used in the Morris print in 19th century Britain. So at that time, indigo, it is very useful for coloring, for dyeing the clothes, but it was available in India itself, and the farmers of India only, they were knowing about how to grow it. Okay, so it is cultivated in India, and India was the biggest supplier of indigo in the world at that time. Persuaded to produce jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in UP, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra, and rice in Madras. Now they are taking a few speciality from the different region, and they were knowing about which type of cereals or which type of crops they can grow in this kind of region, and they can get the profit from all these things. Okay, so these all things is done for the Europe only. After that, indigo. Now let us discuss something about the indigo. Used in cloth manufacturing in France, Italy, and Britain by 18th century. Small amount rich with high price. Means to make indigo as a dye needed very small amount, but when you are selling it in the market, it will get very high price. So it is a matter of profit here. European demanded on plant woad. Woad is another dye producing plant. But what is the difference between the indigo and the this woad is that for violet and blue dye, which is pale and dull, means that woad is not bright, it was not shiny, it is very pale and dull. And at the same time, indigo is very real, it is very shiny and brighter than woad. So woad cultivators were afraid of competition by indigo and wanted to ban indigo. Buyer prefer indigo due to its quality. Okay, French started cultivating indigo. Now what happened, just because having afraid of competition, what the French they have started themselves to cultivating the indigo plantation started in North America. So demand increased and supply from West Indies and is collapsed, and production reduced to half, and people looking for new sources. So at the same time, there was the black slaves. The system is going on in North America. The people who are black, they are treating as a slaves over there. So they all are doing the work of forced labor to grow the indigo plantation. Okay, then after what happened, just this slavery system has ended up. So this French, they are not having any of the labor to do this work, and slowly the demand, as the demand was increased, the supply was collapsed from these areas, and now they are looking for the people and the new sources. Indigo plantation started in Bengal, in India. It started in Bengal. In 1783, the production of indigo is 30%, but as we reaching the 1810, it was increased to the 95%. Now company was giving loan to produce indigo. Company started giving loan to the farmers to produce indigo, because at that time the farmers, they are not having that much amount to grow the indigo. So they have to take the loan from the company, and they have to pay it to the company. Now indigo cultivation. How the indigo cultivation done? So there are two systems, niche and the Rayoti cultivation. In niche cultivation on the Ryots land. Niche, it means personal, in their own personal land. Planters produced indigo in the land that he directly controlled and employed hired laborers. Planters, those who are doing niche cultivation, they have to do it personally in their own land. They have to hire their own employees, and they have to do the things. Indigo can be cultivated only on fertile areas, but these were already densely populated, only small areas could be acquired. Where the niche cultivation has been started, it was already densely populated. So, and the indigo, it needs a very huge area to grow. But the niche cultivators, they are not having that much area. They attempt to lease in land around the indigo factory and evict the peasants from the area. Mobilizing labor was not easy. Now they wanted to do this cultivation thing in another side, but to move the laborers from one place to another, it's not easy for them. Peasants were interested in rice cultivation, as They just wanted to rice cultivation, because indigo is not meant for their basic needs, to fulfill their basic needs. So they were not interested in growing indigo, as they having a lot of land. And this the main fact behind this is that once we grow indigo in that land will will no more fertile anymore, and that land will not be used further for any kind of cultivation. So land less than 25% land was under this system. This niche system was not that much successful at that time. And the second system is the Rayoti cultivation. Now the cultivation on planters' own land. Planters force the ryots to sign an agreement as well as the village headman. Now what is happening? Now this was under the control of the company. Now the company, they are providing a loan, they are providing a land to the ryots. They had just to come to and sign an agreement which is known as satta, and the village handman and the ryots, they have to work under the company itself. Those who sign get cash advances at low rates of interest. Loan committed them to cultivate indigo on 25% of the land. Now those who will sign the agreement, they will get the cash advances, and they were allowed to do the cultivation work in that particular area. Planters provide them the seed and drill. Planters only give them the seeds and drill, and the rest of the work was done by the farmers itself. Price for indigo was low, so loan was never ended. Indigo has deep roots and exhausted soil. No rice could be grown. Just I told you earlier that it cannot be grown if the indigo has been sown in that, and the price for indigo was very low. Whatever the price which was given by the company is very low, so loan was never ended. Now it's a process of manufacturing of indigo. In this it's a very huge process included in this. Once the farmers, they have to pluck off the flowers and they have to crush it, then they have to make it in the form of liquid. Then this liquid was dried up, then again it becomes in the powder form, then again they have to make it in the liquid form, and so many processes going on in this. I will give you the video in the app so you can see it very clearly. Now the last topic of this chapter is the Blue Rebellion. In 1859, as I told you about the Rayoti cultivation, the farmers were not happy. They want to grow the things which will fulfill their basic needs, but the growing indigo will just crush off their land. So what they have planned to just attack the indigo factories, and they have did it in the year 1859. And in this time, the zamindars and the village headmen were also supporting the ryots, and they have also given us full support to the ryots to attack on that. Indigo system was oppressed completely when in Barasat, magistrate Ashley Eden issued a notice that Ryot would not be compelled to accept indigo contracts, and at the same time Queen Victoria had declared that indigo production was not profitable for Ryots, hence to continue the current contract but can refuse for future. It means if any of the Ryots in India, if they have signed the contract with the company, so they can continue that current contract, but they can refuse to do the contract with them in future. After revolt, indigo production was collapsed in Bengal and shifted to Bihar. Business was affected by synthetic dyes and all. Now after that, so many of the things were started with this, like this synthetic dyes and all, so no one is preferring indigo anymore, and it was collapsed permanently. And there was a movement started by the Mahatma Gandhi in 1917, that was the Champaran movement against the indigo planters. Okay, thank you.